AI is moving faster than most security teams can keep up. According to Vanta's latest State of Trust report, 59% of security leaders say AI threats are outpacing their expertise. That number jumps to 67% in large enterprises. At the same time, organizations are racing to deploy agentic AI without fully understanding the risk. So, how do you close this AI trust gap? That's exactly what we are going to find out in this episode of the Agentic Enterprise with Jeremy Epling, Chief Product Officer at Vanta. Jeremy, it's great to have you on the show. This is the first time you and I are talking, so I would love to know a bit about the company. What do you folks do?
At Vanta, we help businesses earn and prove trust, and we do that through providing them a set of different tools to help them with compliance. And so we're very focused on, we have down market customers, like it could be someone coming right out of the latest YC batch that's trying to get SOC 2 or ISO for the first time to prove the trust and quality and security of their product to their first time enterprise buyer. Or it could be a really large enterprise company like Atlassian or Snowflake or Duolingo that has a very mature security program. They have multiple different frameworks that they've been pursuing. This could be an AI framework like ISO 42001. And we help them with that entire journey, whether it's having successfully collecting evidence for an audit and going through an audit, automating continuous control monitoring, answering questionnaires that come in from their customers, and a lot more. So it's been a really exciting journey. The company was founded in 2018, and we have over 14,000 customers now. So it's been a fun and exciting ride since then.
Let's talk about your State of Trust report. First of all, before we go deeper into some of the findings, talk a bit about what is the idea behind this report, for how long you folks have been doing this report. Then we'll talk about this year's report.
So we've been doing the report now, I think, for 3 years. And this year's is really focused. Each year it's around asking the kind of key security, compliance, and trust questions to different CISOs and security experts across the world, trying to get an idea of what are the top of mind risks that they're dealing with, what are the areas where they're seeing a need to kind of improve their programs and move forward, what are they seeing for industry trends as well. So it's not just Vanta customers we're talking to, it's security teams all around the world and trying to get an idea of like the high level trends that are going on to help all businesses kind of have a better security program and reduce risk.
Now let's talk about the report. Your State of Trust report shows almost 2/3 of organizations admit their use of agentic AI is outpacing their understanding of it. What are you hearing from security leaders on the ground about this disconnect?
Yeah, I think this has definitely been a big topic from customers. We see it in the security questionnaires that we process in as well, where our customers are asking them questions around how are you using AI? A lot of it comes around data usage. So they were wondering, are you training on my AI? Are you training your AI on my data, on my customers' data? How's that going? So we do a couple things that we've seen that have like helped customers with this. One of them is there's new emerging standards like ISO 42001. We see a lot of companies pursuing that as a way to show that they understand what's going on with AI, that they're responsibly using their customers' data and how they're training or leveraging that in AI. And that's a framework that Vanta fully automates. And we were the first company to go ahead and automate that and actually went through that whole process ourselves. So we use that to build trust with our customers on how Vanta AI works. I think one of the interesting things in security, though, has been with all the AI coding tools, it's become much easier for attackers to really just have this onslaught of attacks. Like you can kind of see what Anthropic wrote about. I think it was probably 2 weeks ago now, where there was a nation state attack where they had leveraged Claude Code for that. And I think some of the things about the attack wasn't really novel in the new types of vulnerabilities it did, but just the fact that it can be fully autonomous, and people that maybe weren't kind of like hacking, attacking, coding experts in the past now have the tools to be able to do this at much larger scale and much more frequently. And so I think these are some of the top of mind things for these security leaders, where they see AI coming in, they're not really sure how people internally are using it, what's happening to their customer data, and then they see it from the outside. One of the areas we help them to go solve this problem with Vanta is because Vanta AI is kind of the good guy working inside your corporation to help you understand what are these threats and risks and quickly evaluate them and act on them. So Vanta AI and the agent knows everything that's going in your program, whether that be the controls that you have, your vendors, the questionnaires, the risks, the documents, the different tests you're running. It can automatically suggest to you different ways for you to go and improve your program and to kind of manage risk and prioritize the different new risks and threats that might be coming in. So I do think there's a bit of this cat and mouse game happening where the attackers have kind of like upgraded what they're able to go do. But there's security tools like we have with the Vanta AI agent and other security tools that really are fighting back on the same side.
Interestingly, the report also shows a sharp rise in how security and compliance impact customer trust. 82% of respondents now believe that improving security and compliance directly boost customer trust. That is up from 67% just last year. What is driving this shift in mindset?
As you said, 82% is a big number, and they definitely want to improve customer trust. I think when I look at how Vanta helps people go do that, is it really is about thinking about the ROI is also a big aspect of this as well. So, when you think about a product like Vanta, it helps you automatically answer security questionnaires that are coming in. These are all the questions from your customers wondering, how is your program running? What is going on there? And I think that because of AI, a lot more of these questions continue to come in, and customers are just getting a lot more concerned. So that's kind of like raising the bar on that. I think the other thing they're wondering is it's not just at the deal time that they're wondering. They're also wondering, is that ongoing trust maintained? And so what they want is a GRC tool like Vanta to be able to continuously prove that trust. And so when I think about the automation that we've built there in the Trust Center, it lets you always show off your real-time security status. And one of the other really exciting features we launched recently at Vantacon was also our customer commitments. So when you think about signing the deal is just like the first part of building trust with the customer, you want to always be showing that off with your Trust Center of your controls, your sub-processors, how that's all going. The other piece of it is the contract you're signing. A lot of the times when you're signing a contract with one of these customers, they have unique security terms. And with AI, they might be asking even more details around how you're using their data, what's going on with it. They may be wondering around specific encryption. They may ask you to be like, hey, if you have a breach, we actually want to get notified in 24 hours or 48 hours or something like that. Customers are kind of drowning trying to keep track of all these different commitments that they have to different customers. And so this was a big thing that we ended up providing and announcing at our recent Vantacon conference was we go ahead and automatically analyze these contracts and help you stay on track on top of all those different customer commitments so that if you do have an incident or a breach, you know who you need to go talk to and when, and can kind of understand how your program's changing over time. It also really empowers these security leaders to now show the real world value of their program. A lot of times when they're talking to business leaders, they're talking about, controls and frameworks, and a lot of business leaders aren't steeped in this security kind of knowledge and jargon. And so this allows them to say, hey, these specific customers are asking for these things. That's why I need this more headcount. That's why we need to invest more in our security program. Or we see these security questions coming in around AI, so we need to get better AI security tooling, or we want to do, one thing or another. And so really providing that ROI and the tie back to the customer around why and the value that program is providing to the whole organization, how it's unlocking revenue and maintaining revenue. I think all this has just become a lot more top of mind for security leaders.
Despite these AI-related risks, 8 in 10 organizations are actually increasing their AI usage in security programs. That sounds counterintuitive. How are they balancing threat with opportunity, and what are they seeing in terms of results like faster risk assessments or improved accuracy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that a lot of these security teams have a mountain of work, and it is only growing because there's more threats, there are more attacks coming in, and they're not necessarily always getting more headcount. So they're really looking for tools like Vanta to really help them streamline this process and reduce risk in their program and increase a lot of efficiency. And so, security questionnaires obviously are very important because a customer, deal is is attached to that. But a lot of the times you're answering the same questions over and over again. It's a big manual task. That's one where Vanta AI comes in and can automate that entire process, answering the questions from you, reusing previous answers that you've gotten. You can just give us documents. We'll automatically pull in that knowledge. And then a human can review at the end. And once a human's reviewed that, we can now automatically just use that on all future questionnaires. So really automating that whole questionnaire process. Then there's third-party risk management. When you're on the other side, you're the one buying a specific vendor or a tool, and you are the one asking the questions. And then in that process, we can make it really easy for the people you're asking the questions of, because they can just upload documents. Vanta AI will automatically analyze them against how you're using that vendor. So you get this personalized security assessment around what do you care about as a company, what data you're putting into the vendor, and then we can automatically flag different findings. We can even flag inconsistencies. Maybe their documents say that they are doing X and they're actually doing Y. They said in their answer. We can flag those inconsistencies. We can also handle gathering all those documents and evidence. So the Vanta agent will automatically go out, scour their marketing website, their other trust centers, automatically pull in that data, and automatically when they upload the documents like a SOC 2 report or a pen test, pull that all in. So again, just saving a bunch of time. So instead of having to kind of go and cat herd and nag someone for getting all the security information, documents, pouring through it, you just end up with exact answers and findings right there. Even when you think about improving your program internally, we do the same thing for risks or policies. It's really easy. Large companies have lots of different policies. It's easy for them to get inconsistent. Vanta AI automatically flags those inconsistencies and surfaces those to customers so they can fix them. We have one-click fix buttons for those. So maybe you have one document that says your service level agreement for a vulnerability, critical vulnerability needs to be done in 24 hours. Another one says 48. We'll surface that. You can click and update it. Maybe you have an employee leave the company who was an approver on a policy. We'll automatically surface that to you and let you go ahead and just like one click, pick the new owner. We'll write that back to the document. We'll put a change log in the document. We'll kick off the whole approval process for that update to the document and do all those different pieces. So to me, the Vanta agent really helps you keep your entire program in sync. We think of it as this GRC engineer that's working 24/7 alongside the GRC team to automate just a ton of these different processes. So you can come in at that really important decision-making process to kind of review the work, see what was done, and then make that important decision, and then move off and then send the agent off to kind of do the next set of tasks for you.
You folks announced Vanta AI Agent 2.0 at Vantacon. You describe it as a 24/7 GRC engineer with complete program awareness. That is a big claim, and we are used to big claims in the AI world. But what does that actually look like in terms of connected workflows and automation across an entire GRC program?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think our approach to AI is really a human in the loop approach. I think over time, as customers build more confidence with Vanta AI, they can have it do more and more of the complete automation that they want. And so when we think about giving an answer from AI, we always come back with things that are going to go build trust. And is that answer high quality? So we'll say, hey, we looked at these different documents in your program, these policies, here's a citation. That's exactly where this answer came from. So they can build trust in everything the agent's doing. It also walks through his thinking. Another key thing that we launched for the agent also was having full context and memory about your company. So over time, it is automatically learning based on the conversations you've had and is automatically kind of going off and doing its own research. So when you think about Vanta, we automatically know it's like, oh, great, this is a healthcare company, that it can automatically go ahead and recognize that. It will understand which frameworks you have, which controls, which ones might apply that you don't have. It knows what industry you're in. It can then connect into all sorts of different pieces of your program, whether that be how you think about risk management, internal risk, how you think about third-party risk management, whether it be questionnaires, your trust center, the different cloud assets that you have in your program. So it has this full knowledge of how all these pieces pull together. So for a lot of security companies, they'll often have a set of common controls that they'll want to work across. So these are kind of like, is all my data encrypted at rest or encrypted in transit or different security controls? The agent knows about all these and they can answer different questions on like, hey, we know we have an upcoming audit. You can ask the agent, how prepared are we for this audit? What controls have not yet have sufficient evidence for them? Who has the most controls like assigned to them that I should probably go follow up on because the audit's coming up in a couple of weeks? Or, hey, how are we doing on vendor reviews? Are the vendor review process getting faster or is it getting slower? And at what pace? So these are the type of ways where the Vanta agent can pull it together. And when you think about maybe you're pursuing a new standard or you have a new risk or a new threat that's come up, you can go ahead and ask the agent to kind of pull all these different pieces together where it's like, oh, wow, we see this vendor and they have a specific set of like potential issues. The agent can automatically suggest potential compensating controls. It understands how that vendor maps into your risks, how it maps into your privacy program, and all these different pieces. So I look at it as pulling together all the different pieces of your program into one place so you can ask these questions. You can build confidence in the answers you're getting because it knows about your security program, all the different pieces, and it's always proving to you where those answers are coming from with links and citations and explanations of its thinking. And then you're always in charge anytime we're sharing something externally. So if anything will get shared with the customer, like a response to a questionnaire, it's always a human that kind of makes that final decision of approval there.
Looking at the broader product announcements coming out of Vantacon, what should security and compliance teams be paying attention to? What capabilities are you rolling out that directly address the trust gap your report identified?
I think there's a couple of big things. One of them is how we've upgraded the Vanta agent, as we've talked about there, to have this total program awareness. How you can ask questions, it will take actions on your behalf, and it just continues to get smarter and know more about your program, whether that be inconsistencies in your program, how risks map to controls and vendors, automatically gathering evidence for security reviews, things like that. Another key part of it too is just enterprise scale. So when I talk to really large customers, they have complex programs, they're running multiple different audits, they have multiple different product lines, they're probably working in multiple different regions across the world. One of the really unique things that Vanta lets you go do is we have framework scoping and business unit scoping as well. So, if you're pursuing PCI, which is like a credit card processing standard, the types of things that you need to think about for that audit and to stay compliant with PCI is very different than the scope of things that you'll have for like SOC 2 or ISO. So we allow customers to kind of segment and scope each of their frameworks and make progress on those. We have a new feature, Organization Center, coming out next year. So maybe if you're acquiring different companies, you need to get that view of everything that's happening across your entire program and push down certain policies and commitments to everyone. But then you want a certain amount of variety. Maybe you have a subsidiary that needs to comply with these 5 controls and these 6 policies, but then you want to let them do their other thing on some of the other areas. What we allow you to do is have that combination of kind of control and full program awareness while also giving flexibility. So you can easily kind of pour through all that data in one place. Customer commitments. This has been a really big, exciting launch for us as well. Like we mentioned, we have questionnaire automation and Trust Center to kind of always be sharing and responding to new deals. Customer commitments allows us to pull in those contracts so you can always make sure that you're up to date with all the security requirements from all the different contracts that you have. And then we have a big investment in internal and third-party risk, really pulling together the entire risk landscape to understand who your vendors are, how to automate those security assessments, pulling that all the way back into your internal risk program. So it's very easy to see how your whole program holds together and prioritize the different work that you need to go do.
As you mentioned, you work with customers globally. How do you navigate the different regulatory landscapes? Places like Europe have stricter policies around AI and compliance compared to other regions. How does that shape the way Vanta approaches trust and compliance for multinational organizations?
Yeah, so we have a global customer base, including offices in, Sydney, London, Dublin, and then in US and North America. So for us, we support over 40 different compliance frameworks, and some of them are very region specific, whether it be, one specific to the UK or to the EU or to Australia or New Zealand. I think one of the biggest areas we probably see is, everyone is interested in AI. But some of them will have different restrictions, like you said, around data use or data sovereignty. So those become really unique things as well there. From Vanta, from a product perspective, we also support data sovereignty. So if you want your Vanta instance and data to stay in Australia, or you want it to stay in Europe or in the US, we support all those different options. I'd say probably the biggest thing that we see is really data access and how people are using it specifically for AI is probably the biggest trend. We're seeing a lot of people adopt the NIST AI RMF, which is the risk management framework from NIST. We've seen a lot of traction and growth there. That's something that we provide as part of the Vanta product. Same with ISO 42001, which is another standard around AI and framework that a lot of people are beginning to adopt. I would say that one comes up now in nearly every large customer conversation I have as they think about how they're trying to project trust and build confidence with their customers and prospects that they are using AI responsibly and securely. ISO 42001 seems to be kind of like the bedrock of that. And then there's a lot of other kind of like newer standards and frameworks that I think that are coming up to become a little bit more explicit. Some of those are a little bit more focused on your policies and how you approach it, but aren't doing as much kind of like automation on checking, exactly how is the data flowing into models or not. And I expect to see more kind of variety and growth along those lines.
As we look ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunities for organizations to build trust while scaling their AI initiatives? What should security leaders prioritize or what they are already prioritizing for 2026?
I think one of the biggest things that I hear them prioritizing is how to defend against kind of like a new level of consistency and sophistication with AI attacks coming in from the outside. I think like we talked about earlier with the one that Anthropic wrote about recently, I think we just expect more and more of these AI-based attacks to come up, and they might not be doing something novel, even though I'm sure some of them are. I think it's just there will be more of them, and the volume of them and persistency of them can be much greater because of AI. They can automatically adapt and change. So I think that is a top of mind thing for a lot of security leaders. I think another big piece that's on top of their mind is just building that customer confidence with like their product and their security program and how they can go ahead and show that value back to their business stakeholders. It's rare that I ever meet with a CISO that doesn't have a laundry list of, thousands upon thousands of kind of alerts that they're dealing with and security alerts and trying to go ahead and dig through these to find which ones are the most impactful. And then how do they make that business case into their management team? Maybe it's the C-suite or the leadership team to say that, hey, we need to do more on security. And so I think that's a case where Vanta really comes in because you can really tie the value of your compliance and GRC and security program directly to customers, whether it's because we integrate with Salesforce or other CRM tools. They can go ahead and see that revenue impact and how it unlocks in new markets, how customer retention is higher when you have a high quality security program. They can understand those contract commitments that are made. And then Vanta AI just makes it really easy for you to go ahead and visualize and ask those questions and communicate out the quality of your security program, what it's doing, what it's influencing on the business directly to your business stakeholders. So I think, AI threats are definitely big and growing and like top of mind. And then I think the other thing is just how do they prioritize all the different work that they have to go do because of all these threats? I think that's a case where Vanta AI like really comes in and helps them then talk about how they can really improve the security program and the benefit that's going to bring to the business and to their customers.
Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me and sharing these insights from the State of Trust report and announcements from Vantacon. I would love to have you folks back on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It was great having me and love the conversation.
And for those watching, if you are facing similar challenges around AI trust and compliance automation, make sure to check out Vanta and its solutions. And don't forget to subscribe to TFIR, like this video, and share it with friends. Thanks for watching the Agentic Enterprise.